Hello everybody. So I'm standing next to the all-new 2023 Nissan Z, but not just any version of the Nissan Z. I'm actually standing next to the $40,000 base sport model. So what we're going to do today is take a look at this trim level and see, is this the version to buy? Because it definitely has a very appealing price tag, 400 horsepower for under $40,000. So without further ado, let's go ahead, jump right in and see what's different about this model. So at this point, you've probably seen our full review of the loaded performance version of the Nissan Z. So you're probably noticing what's different for about $10,000 less on this sport model. Well, in terms of your overall design, actually not that much. So here with this base sport model, I'm noticing the grille is pretty much exactly the same. We have that same squared off shape with the rectangles inside of it. It's still just as large to let all that airflow go into the twin turbo V6. We still have the updated Nissan emblem, but one thing that is different is our lower fascia is missing a front spoiler. That's going to be performance exclusive. However, as we come over here to the headlights, these are exactly the same as the top end model. So you're gonna have full LED headlights, low and high beam. You're gonna have daytime running lights that kind of make that circle shape iconic for the Z model, and then of course the LED turn signal indicator as well. Now when we come over here to the wheels, we do have some notable differences here. First and foremost, we have an 18-inch alloy instead of a 19-inch design. As you can see, it has a gray finish, looks a little bit more plain Jane, you could say, than that fully loaded performance model. Additionally, we do have different tire situation on board. So this is a little bit less aggressive in terms of the tire type. And we also have a little bit of a narrower thing. So this is 245 width as terms of the tire for both the front and the rear. The performance model has a wider tire in the rear. And then furthermore, the brakes are going to be a little bit smaller, 12.6-inch vented disc in the front, and we don't have the red finish brake caliper. Now with the side, the story is pretty much that you're not giving up anything. You still have the phenomenal design of this new Z, low slung front end, comes into this nice back, slopes off with that nice iconic Z shape. And we do have the kind of basic gray paint, but you actually can get a two-tone configuration if you want, but keep it monotone if you want to keep it at that base price. Now as we continue on to the back, again, mostly the same. We still have that signature look, especially these beautiful taillights, which are inspired by the Z of the 90s. Three-dimensional, full LED, every single element. The two differences that need to be pointed out though. Performance models get the spoiler, so we don't have the spoiler out back. It does make it look a little bit more plain. And then as we come down here to the bottom, we still have a large diameter dual exhaust. Can confirm they sound fantastic still, but they don't have the sport muffler, so it's not going to sound quite as good as the performance model. But of course, the interior is where you're going to be spending your time, so let's go ahead and come inside here, see what you get for that under $40,000 base price. All right, so this is my first time inside of this cabin. We've spent pretty much all of the first part of the day with the fully loaded model. And first impression is you really don't seem like you're giving up a lot. This still seems like a very nicely finished cabin and pretty similar to what you get on that top end model. But let's go ahead and talk about some of those differences that you're gonna see. So one thing that I'm really glad that's not different is this right here. We have the full digital gauge cluster that is still standard on the base $40,000 sport model. And you can go into the performance gauges like we have right now. So you can have your G-force meter, the giant tachometer, the big red line that gives you a notification when you need to shift. These are really excellent gauges, super vivid, and I really enjoyed using these throughout the day today. Coming back to the steering wheel, also the same, nice finished leather wrapped special Z branding, tilt and telescoping. I like the finish of the buttons as well. But of course you're going to notice some material differences. So I'm sitting in the seat, so it'd be a little difficult to see right now, but this is a full cloth seat. So in the performance model, you would have a leatherette on the outside edge and then an Alcantara that runs through the middle. So that's going to be a little bit more grippy, a little bit more premium. That same material is going to carry to the dashboard, which is what you're seeing now. We have the cloth here and the cloth here instead of the leather. And then the door trim on the Performance is finished in Alcantara. This is going to continue that cloth, but it does have a stitching detail in it, so it looks pretty premium. Now carrying on through this cabin, noticing 2 blank buttons here. This is going to be heated seats on the Performance model. We do have a manual transmission. That does not change, so you still have the 6-speed manual standard. You can, for no cost, go for a 9-speed automatic if you want. That is for both versions of the Z. We have automatic climate controls here, a single zone. The screen is going to be a little different. This is an 8-inch display. On the Performance, we have a 9-inch display, so it just takes up a little bit more space here. It also adds wireless Apple CarPlay, although this 8-inch display does still come with wired Android Auto, wired Apple CarPlay. Take a look at the cargo area. So of course that's not going to change between the trim levels. It's actually a pretty functional space for a sports car like this. I'm actually very impressed by this. We're looking at what we estimate to be about 7 cubic feet. It's very similar to the outgoing generation, which was 6.9 cubic feet. So I'm estimating this is about the same. It's nice and wide. You really have pretty versatile in terms of what you could put back here. Of course, you have the Performance bar across the back, but there's also storage behind the front 2 seats because you don't have the rear seat, so you can have a little shelf there that you can stick small objects, groceries, things like that. Anything that won't fit there, you could probably fit back there. And last but certainly not least, let's talk about performance. Because that to me is the #1 thing that makes this Sport such a special version of the Nissan Z. Because unlike, say, the Toyota Supra, the base model doesn't come with a lower displacement, smaller engine. You get the full performance of the mighty 3-liter twin-turbo V6 engine. 400 horsepower, 350 pound-feet of torque. 0 to 60 seems to be in the low 4 seconds. So you're talking really serious performance. For $40,000, that's definitely a good deal. Wow.
Holy.
That power, wow. I mean, you know you have 400 horsepower, but it surprises you when you put your foot down still.
Wow. What an amazing road to test out this Z. We're here close to Lake Mead, and oh my gosh, this is a perfect road for it.
Nice downshift rev match.
Oh gosh, this thing is fast.
Fantastic. Alright, but let's go ahead and I guess actually tell you a little bit about what's backing up this performance. So one of the biggest things about this new Z is this new power plant inside of it. We've got a 3-liter twin-turbo V6 engine making 400 horsepower, 350 pound-feet of torque, and that is standard on both trim levels of the Z, so you don't have to go up to that performance to get this performance. Sounds fantastic as well.
Yeah, I will say they've done a much better job with the exhaust sound of this Z. When I heard it was the Q60's engine, I was really wondering if they were going to keep the same exhaust system, because that was a little bit disappointing to me. It's a little too quiet, doesn't have all the theatrics to it, and I'm happy to say this is A+, A+ right now.
Fantastic. Like I was saying earlier, you do have a 6-speed manual transmission. 9-speed automatic is available as a no-cost additional option. And having driven this today, I can say the performance is absolutely fantastic. Just handles so well, absolutely glued to the road, and really puts a huge grin on your face. So you know, $40,000 to put a big smile on your face, definitely a thumbs up. Now in terms of fuel economy, not too bad for this type of vehicle. You're looking at 20 combined with the manual, 22 combined with the automatic. Of course, you will need to use premium fuel, so you know that's going to cost you a little bit extra these days, but all in all, you know, you're saving a little bit of money on the front end. You'll have more money to spend on driving fast and having fun. Well guys, we hope you enjoyed this quick walk around of the brand new 2023 Nissan Z Sport. As you can tell, this is really a great deal, and we hope that you'll come back to our channel and make sure to check out, of course, our review of the full performance version of the Nissan Z, all of our other Z content, as well as vehicles that are not just sports cars, but mainstream vehicles that you and your family might enjoy.